in the paper Science claims that humanity has raced past 4 of the boundaries keeping it hospitable to life and is racing toward the final 5. The 9 planetary boundaries, according to the report, include climate change, lost biodiversity as species become extinct, deforestation, ozone depletion, ocean acidification, and freshwater use. That's quite the word. Joining me now to talk about this study is Professor Bron Taylor, who teaches environmental ethics at the University of Florida. Glad to have you here, Bron.
It's nice to be with you.
All right, so let's talk a little bit about this. According to the report, these 4 boundaries that we've already raced past, what are those?
Well, species extinction, climate change, not forgetting the other 2 offhand. There's 9 that are listed,
right.
And all of them are discussed as of grave concern. And you'll get different scientists who are saying that we've already passed the planetary boundaries on more than 4 of them even. Okay,
so of those first 4, and obviously climate change is probably a big one that most people would be familiar with. In terms of some of these others, you know, the extinction of species, are we seeing that picking up speed at this point, or are we actually slowing down on it?
We're absolutely accelerating that extinction crisis. This is actually what led me to get involved with environmental studies in the first place, is hearing claims back in the 70s that human beings were precipitating a massive species extinction. And I'm not one that just takes at face value the first claim made by scientists. But what I began to do is to take the science seriously as a person trained in ethics. And I've been watching these reports, including those coming out by the Intergovernmental Climate Change Panel over the last 25 years. And what a lot of folks don't recognize is you don't take one study. There's 2 new, all the more alarming studies that just came out that you're pointing to. But you take a cumulative look at studies over time. And here's really what I've seen over those years. Scientists are very conservative. They don't like to overplay their hand or sound alarmist unnecessarily.
Sure.
So when they started talking about the issues of climate change, all these issues are interrelated. Climate change precipitates species extinctions, for example. But as they began to articulate growing concerns about the ways in which humans were degrading the environmental systems upon which all life depends, they became more and more direct, and now they're doing the equivalent of standing on the table shouting what for them is very alarming tones.
So because obviously your particular field of expertise seems to be in the extinction of these species, you said it's accelerating. What are we looking at in terms of numbers?
Well, in some places, the planetary boundaries reports specifies, and this is somewhat arbitrary, but if you're going below 90%, or if you're going below a threshold of 90% of the species you originally had, that you're crossing those boundaries. There's many places on Earth where we've already done that. In Africa, for example, just for one example, 84% according to a current estimate. Other scientists are saying we're entering the 6th great extinction. Now, the other ones were not caused by human beings. So this is the first human-caused or anthropogenic extinction. And it is accelerating rapidly through a wide variety of things that we're doing, including deforestation. That was one of the 4 that was mentioned. The oceans are becoming more acidic, which is driving species to extinction. Human beings have increased even from 1925 from 2 billion, which is considered to be a sustainable population for human beings according to sort of Northern European consumption standards, from 2 billion to 7.2 billion at this moment. And what a lot of people also don't realize is that as we've gone from 2 billion humans to 7.2 billion humans, we've also increased the number of domestic animals, the ones that we eat and the ones that are our companion animals.
Sure.
We now have 4.3 domestic animals, more than 1 for every 2 human beings on the planet. And they also carry cultivating the land that they need causes species extinction, because where they are, other organisms are not. Where we cut down forests for cattle, other species are not. So we're losing literally tens of thousands of endemic species or native species to these trends.
So let me ask you this. You called this the 6th great extinction,
right.
The first caused by humans. If there have been 5 previous great extinctions, is this not, I guess, a part of the process for the Earth? Why in this case, because it's human-caused, is it more alarming than in the others, or is it more alarming?
Well, certainly for an ethicist, it's more alarming, because if you don't have control over something, it's not your responsibility. You have no moral obligation. In this case, we're doing it. So we at least have to ask the question, if we're doing something that's driving species off the planet, are we in some sense morally culpable? That's certainly the kinds of things I wrestle with my students. And we can address that one of two ways, and ethicists typically do that. What are the implications for human beings when we're doing this? Well, we know that all life is interdependent and mutually dependent. And the more, this is what the Planetary Boundaries report speaks to, the more species we drive off the planet, the less resilience there is in ecosystems, the harder it's going to be for us to get the calories that we need to survive. But there's a whole other side of the coin. What right do we have to drive other species who got here in precisely the same way that we have, who have participated in the long struggle for existence just as we have? What right have we, if we don't have to drive them off the planet altogether?
And as you're saying, that's where I guess the love for the environment and the ethics kind of come together there. Professor Braun Taylor of the University of Florida, thanks so much for your insight.